The iris is probably one of the most beautiful and majestic perennials that you can grow in your garden. Its flowers can be stunning, and even when it's finished blooming, the structure of its leaves and the contrast that it makes with other things in your garden makes it a really fantastic perennial. And it's actually pretty easy to grow and maintain if you follow a few simple rules. And today I'm going to be transplanting one of our irises from our fountain garden bed down there into our main bed right here. There's something about irises that feels timeless. They're one of those plants that don't just belong to a garden, they feel like they've always been a part of it. And in a way, they have. Irises have been grown for over 4,000 years, originally in the Mediterranean and across parts of Asia. Their name comes from the Greek goddess Iris, the messenger who travelled between heaven and earth on a rainbow. And if you've ever stood in front of a bed of irises in full bloom, that connection makes perfect sense. Across different cultures, they've carried different meanings. In ancient Greece, they were planted on graves, believed to guide souls to the afterlife. In Egypt, they became symbols of power and were brought into royal gardens after military conquests. And in Europe, the iris evolved into a fleur-de-lis, the emblem of French royalty that still shows up everywhere today. Even in art, they've never really faded. Painters like Vincent van Gogh return to them again and again, not just for their colour, but for their form, their movement, the way they seem almost alive. But for all of that history, what's interesting is how ordinary they became. Not that long ago, most gardeners didn't know them by name at all. They were just called flags, plants that came back every year, blossomed reliably and didn't ask for much, passed from one garden to another without labels and without fuss. And honestly, that's still part of their appeal. Even now, irises are some of the most dependable plants you can grow. Most people think of the classic tall bearded iris, the ones with those large sculptural flowers in late spring. And those are probably the most recognisable. They grow from thick rhizomes that sit right at the surface of the soil, slowly spreading outward year after year. But there's more to irises than just those. There are Siberian irises, which are a bit more refined, graceful, with finer foliage that holds up beautifully even after flowering. And Japanese irises, which have flatter, almost painterly blooms and prefer a bit more moisture. And then the Louisiana types, which are native to wetter environments and bring in some of the boldest colours you'll find anywhere in the garden. Different forms, different habits, but they all share the same basic nature. They're resilient, they adapt, and once they're established, they tend to stay. But that said, there are a few things they do care about. Sunlight is one of them. If you want strong blooms, they need a good amount of sun, at least 6 hours a day. And drainage is another, especially for bearded irises. Their rhizomes don't like sitting in wet soil, and that's where a lot of problems start. And then there's planting depth, which is probably the most common mistake. With most plants you think plant it deeper to protect it. Irises are the opposite. Those rhizomes actually want to sit right at the surface, sometimes even slightly exposed. If they're buried too deeply, they'll grow leaves, but you won't get flowers. Watering is fairly simple. They don't need constant moisture, just enough to get established, and then they're quite tolerant of dry periods. Feeding helps, but it doesn't need to be complicated. A balanced fertiliser, or one slightly higher in phosphorus, is usually enough to support good flowering. But more than anything, what really keeps irises performing well over time is division. Because what they do naturally is spread. Each year, new growth forms outward from the centre, and after a few seasons, that centre starts to slow down. You get a dense clump, lots of leaves, and fewer flowers. And that's when it's time to step in. Lifting them, dividing them, and giving them space again doesn't just tidy things up, it completely resets the plant. And the nice thing is, it's not complicated. In fact, it's one of the easiest ways to turn one plant into many. So this is the iris we're going to be transplanting, and you can see right away why it needs to be transplanted, because the poor thing is not getting a whole lot of light back here. And this is a classic example of why you need to transplant things. When we planted this guy, this tree peony here was much smaller. This is tree peony Nike, and he's been transplanted too. He was so small that we called him Sticky when we first planted him in our front garden. We put him in his new spot here, and he's doing really well. Look at these blooms ready to go. So to give this guy a chance, we're going to transplant him. So irises are pretty hardy, and in fact, looking at this, I can see there's an opportunity to get actually more than one plant when we transplant this guy. But the golden rule, the two golden rules that you have to follow with irises is, one, they need to be in a really well drained spot. They really do not like being soaked, because their rhizomes will just rot and they will die. So very well drained soil is what they need. And then the second important thing is that their rhizomes, this is their rhizomes, you can see them over here, should be at or slightly above the soil surface for them to thrive. So I think yes, I can split this plant into probably 1, 2, 3, which is amazing, because you can probably grow a whole garden with iris over time just by splitting and transplanting. So you can see I've loosened the soil around them. So there's one, and you can see how easy it is to split them. So there's another, and I think I'll keep this main clump together. In fact, they actually benefit from being split. It kind of revitalizes them. If you leave them too long, years, they kind of fade. So they definitely like to be split and separated and then replanted. As I said, you can probably over time grow a whole garden with just iris. So this is going to be a much better spot because it gets full sun. Irises like full sun. They can handle part shade, but they will flower more in full sun. So I think this is going to be a really great spot for it, and it will be a nice contrast with the leaves of this other tree peony right here. So you can supplement the soil, although it's not completely necessary, but you can supplement it with worm castings or compost. I'm not going to. Our soil, because it gets mulched every year, and it's been mulched every year for the past 25 years, the soil is actually pretty rich, so I don't think it's completely necessary to put any kind of supplement in. There we go. So as I was saying, these rhizomes need to be at the soil surface, or maybe even just above it. So I've dug the hole a little bit too deep there. And you can see I'm not being particularly gentle. They are very hardy plants. This spot is very well drained and full sun, so it should be ideal. A nice complement and a nice contrast to these roses and that tree peony that's just about to bloom. And if you'd like to follow along with this process, there's a guide on our website. So thank you for joining me in the garden today. I will see you in the next video.